This is TLV1.
TLV1 Radio.
Great mixture.
I like Tel Aviv.
This is still V1.
This is
Tel Aviv is a beautiful city.
Great city, great radio.
TLV1.
This is TLV1.
From the TLV1 studios in Tel Aviv, Israel, it's Louis Live! There's your host, me, Ari Louis. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. This is Louis Live, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We're happy to have you aboard. You can follow the station on Twitter at TLV1.fm, and you can email me personally at arilouisshow@hotmail.com. We have a great show. Bradley Chalupski will come on at 5:30 to talk about how he was not in the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. He wanted to represent bobsledding, so we'll talk about that with Bradley. Adam Davis at 7:40 to talk about volleyball. There's an Israeli in the German League who is the leading scorer. We'll talk about that with Adam. And Melanie Weisner, World Series of Poker. Is poker a sport or is it not? We'll talk about that with Melanie. And we have a huge guest at 15 past the hour. That, of course, is Dylan Moscovitch, the silver medalist winner from this year's Olympic Games. But right now, we're going to speak with Louis Live's Olympic correspondent for the 2014 Games, Mimi Borovich. Mimi, welcome in studio to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
So let's get started. There's been a lot of Jewish issues with this year's Games. First of all, there was controversy over Yulia Lipnitskaya. I'm going to butcher that name. Lipnitskaya, she's listening, I apologize. But she skated to Schindler's List. She's not Jewish or Israeli, and she did quite well. Her team won the gold. She's 15 years old. So this is a very famous incident that's now occurred. What are your thoughts about her skating to Schindler's List?
Well, I've been reading up a lot about what people have been saying, and personally, I'm not so bothered by it. I don't know if that's controversial in itself, but I think that actually, if she's doing a serious skate and she's trying to do a serious program, then a serious piece of music is within reason. I think that if they're going to skate, if they were going to skate to, let's say, I don't know, some sort of funeral march or a death march or something, death march music, that might be different. But the theme song to a Hollywood movie about the Holocaust, I think is borderline okay. I think it's actually not as controversial as perhaps the other Russian pair who also made headlines by skating to Jesus Christ Superstar, which many other people have more of a problem. They also won gold for their performance. And people have more of a problem with that because of the anti-Jewish, anti-black message that some people say is in Jesus Christ Superstar, the musical that was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber. But I think that Schindler's List, I think she did a very good job. I think she did it in a very serious, somber tone. She even wore red to match the red coat of the little girl in the Steven Spielberg film, because, as you know, that's the only color we see in the entire movie. The whole movie is black and white. And then there's this one splash of color to emphasize Schindler's viewpoint of this little girl and how that suddenly made what was going on to the Jewish people all the more real and all the more personal to him when he saw that little girl's coat washed in the rain and her being killed, obviously.
That's a great point. So there is certainly a positive side to her skating to Schindler's List. Ironic about the whole situation, she becomes the youngest person ever to win gold in figure skating. She beat out Tara Lipinski.
Right, who's actually Jewish. Right,
Jewish.
Exactly.
She was 15 years old also, but Yulia's 15 years and a couple days less. That's the way it worked out with her birthday, so she's the youngest right now.
With the Olympics, there's always that fraction of a second, fraction of a millisecond. So if she's, even off by a day and she's, 15 years in one day and Tara's 15 years in 5 days, they make a big deal in the Olympics, obviously.
Tara's from Tucson, Arizona, by the way, so Arizona pride out there. Interesting when you win a gold medal that the endorsements between gold and bronze is about $30 million throughout one's lifetime. So we'll see how much Yulia makes in her career doing commercials.
Well, don't forget, she's Russian, so she won't make nearly as much as Tara Lipinski.
That's true. Tara was on the Wheaties box. She really hammered it home with the money. Let's talk about something that everyone agrees is positive, and that is Charlie White, the only Jewish gold medalist, at least as of right now.
Right, alleged. We're gonna actually maybe ask Dylan about that because
There's some rumors he's not
there's
Jewish.
rumors. I posted it last night. I watched live. It was fantastic. He did an unbelievable, mind-blowing performance in ice dancing. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a slight difference between pairs skating and ice dancing. They look the same. They're both with, a man and a woman, two people dancing together. But pair skating is more technical. That's where you see more of the jumps and the flip, the different things that they do, the triple lutz, the axles, the things that really blow your mind when you see pair skating. You don't see that in ice dancing. Ice dancing is basically, in layman's terms, it's sort of like ballroom dancing on an ice rink. So you do get some very beautiful lifts, and it's very graceful to watch, and the costumes are fascinating. But you don't see really that much of the technical jumps and flips that you watch these people, and they look like they're superhuman. And as you mentioned, in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to be talking to Dylan Moscovitch, who actually won a silver in pairs skating, and he can maybe talk a little bit more also about the difference. But he'll be able to hopefully verify for us because he is Jewish. He'll probably know if Charlie White is Jewish.
You think so? They have like a Jewish back
I'm
thing
sure that
in the back room somewhere.
That's
they
what
shake
I want to
hands?
ask him about. That's what I want to ask if there's some sort of Jewish club, because there's an unbelievable amount of Jewish talent this year at the Olympics. I think it's the most ever amount of Jews in the Olympics. It's beautiful and fascinating. There are 5 Israeli figure skaters.
Which is
5
the most
Israeli, Olympic
athletes.
athletes, not figure skaters. There's 1 skier and 1 speed skater, and then the rest are figure skaters.
And that's the most Israel's ever sent in its history is 5.
Right, and
Let's
they've sent in 2002 and 2008. They also sent 5.
Right, so they tied for the most. Let's talk about the Israelis because they did not medal. Let's talk about the figure skating. You had the theory.
Well, you watched it. You watched it at my house. Actually,
Yeah,
we had a watching party.
Yes, it was fantastic. But the Israelis, they didn't fall. A lot of these skaters fall in their tournaments. They did not fall, but they did not medal because it was not complicated enough.
Yeah, basically, it's fascinating to me because, I want to also ask Dylan about that. Do they know what other figure skaters have planned? Do they know how technical? Because the judges know. The judges have a list of things that people have to do in order to reach the bar, and then there's additional things that they can add, which will add points. That's how the new skating scale works. In about 2002, there was a conflict in the Salt Lake City Games in Utah, where, if you'll remember, we had 2 teams sharing the gold medal in pair skating, Canada and Russia, because Russia fell. And so technically Russia probably shouldn't have won, but there was a French judge who had been bought out or threatened, I can't remember what, but she admitted that she had been forcibly told that she must vote Russia over Canada. So they ended up winning by like a fraction of a point, a tenth of a point. Russia beat Canada. And so it was a whole big controversy. And that's why they changed afterwards the judging system, which is so much more complex. I don't fully understand it. I used to know what a 5.9 was. I knew that, 6.0 or 6.1 is like a flawless performance, and 5.9 is an amazing performance. But now with these, we had a world record in pairs where the Russian team blew everybody away by winning like 36 points over the 4th place winner and 18 points over the silver medalist. So I don't even know how they know what they have to do to qualify, because to come back to your original question, it's really mind-boggling how they can plan for that.
It is, and they have to plan and train for years. Just for a few minutes. So my advice to the Israeli team, they're going to have to come up with something more complex, because what's the point of going if you're not going to try to medal?
Well, I think that there's merit. I mean, I know you talked last week to the figure skater, Tamar Katz, who she should have been
Gone in
sent.
2010.
She should have gone, and they decided, oh, we only want to send our best, or we only want to send 4 instead of 5. What's the big deal? She should have been sent because, frankly, they knew that.
Well, she was the best, but she wasn't going to medal in 2010, and that's why they didn't want to send her.
Right, but they knew the Israelis weren't going to medal either. They knew that this year the pairs figure skating team wasn't going to medal. They did make the top. They did qualify for the finals, which is impressive in its own right, but they were 15th out of 16th. But, I mean, still, that was fantastic to see Israel representing in the finals, and it's great to cheer on our tiny country with our tiny delegation. But again, there was no way. I mean, when you saw the level of talent, I mean, Dylan Moscovitch, who we're having on in about 5 minutes, he was incredible. And when I saw his performance, he had a commanding number 1 spot lead we saw it together. He had it for about an hour. And then all of a sudden, the last 4 teams to go, completely blew everybody away. He went, in the second half. Basically, they divided up, as you saw, by 8 teams, and then they have a break, like a half-hour break, where they clear the ice and let people practice for a couple of minutes, and then they go on with the next set. And it depends. The time slot that you get is by lottery, but also by where you qualify in the semifinals. If you qualified, like he qualified in the bottom, 16, but he was the top of the bottom 16, so he went. In the bottom 8 as opposed to the top 8. So he went in the bottom 8, but he went somewhere in the middle. But then, for the 5 teams that went afterwards in the top 8, they were still number 1. And then those last 3 teams just blew everybody away. The 2 Russian teams, the ones who skated to the Addams Family, and the ones that we were talking about who skated to Jesus Christ Superstar, who ended up actually winning. I think a French team knocked the Canadians down a bit, but his performance was unbelievable, and they were clearly, other than the Russian teams, they were clearly the fan favorite. Everybody was cheering for them. Obviously, the Russians are going to cheer for the Russian team, but they were cheering just as much for Dylan and Kristen.
All right, great stuff, Mimi, a great correspondent. We're going to take a quick break right now, and on the other side, silver medalist from this year's 2014 Games, Dylan David Moscovitch. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
But
Back here on Lewis Live on TLV1.FM. Once again, a reminder, you could get my show on iTunes. Go to iTunes, type in Lewis Live Sports, download the show, and you can listen to it on your way to work, yoga class, whatever you like. And also a reminder that next week, we're having a great, great show. Benji Lovett, comedian extraordinaire, will be on the program along with the Derby Girls, so stay tuned for that. On the line right now, very impressive effort over the Olympics, won silver, and representing his country of Canada. Please give a warm Lewis Live welcome to Dylan David Moscovitch. Dylan, welcome to the program.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. And let's talk about your emotions in winning the silver medal. You've obviously been training for this moment your entire life, and you were clearly the fan favorite out of anybody who wasn't Russian in these games. You completed a great program. They cheered you. Talk about those emotions and the emotions when you won the medal.
Thank you. Yeah. You know what? It's literally been something I've been training for my entire life. I started skating at the age of 2, and I guess at the age of 5, my mom asked me if I wanted to go to the Olympics, and I said, no, I want to win the Olympics. So it's really been my mindset my entire life. Being able to, first of all, even compete at the Olympics is a huge honor, and it's pretty hard to describe how it feels. But obviously winning a medal is that much bigger. I said to my partner when we first got here, this is very special. We are so lucky to be able to do this. Very, very, very few people in the world get to experience this. And then when we won the medal, I said, even fewer people get to experience this. Like I said, it's hard to describe, but standing on the podium, looking out at the Olympic torch with the Canadian flag beside it, it was a very proud moment.
All right, Dylan, I'm going to now turn you over to our correspondent for this year's Winter Olympic Games, Mimi Borovich. Go ahead, Mimi.
Hey, Dylan. So I wanted to ask you, because you won your medal in the first time ever that they've had this in the Olympics, the team figure skating category. Can you briefly explain to our listeners how it works? Is it a combined score overall of the figure skaters, or does in each event does everybody get a silver, or is it Canada overall, the figure skaters that were in the competition, you guys all ranked overall silver?
Yeah, so the way it works is each country, well, the top 10 countries that qualified for this event got to put in a man, a lady, a dance, and a pair. And then each country, after the short program, was able to use 2 substitutes. After the short, only the top 5 countries ranking after the short program. So that's the accumulation of points based on ranking from the short program moved on to the free program. And then those 5 countries for the free program could use up to 2 substitutions. Canada decided to use Eric and Megan for the short, and myself and my partner Kirsten for the long, based on the fact that we are both very tight competitors, and our individual pair event was very soon after the team event. So that worked out for both of us, and all the skaters that competed in the team event for Canada each received a silver medal.
That's incredible. And you guys did a fantastic job in that. And then you're right, shortly thereafter, you had your own pairs competition, and you were the top Canadian team, and also I think you were the fan favorite. I was watching you guys, and as I was Facebooking you, obviously you weren't looking because you were
a little
backstage
busy.
And a little busy, but I was saying, you're number one, because you were number one. You had a commanding lead for, I'd say, an hour or so. You guys were untouchable. And so I was wondering what goes through your mind as you're watching all of these other teams compete and pull off, more complex after more complex routine. How does it work that we were talking about this before, that, like, let's say Team Israel, they have their routine, but it's just, let's say, not good enough. They were 15th out of 16 in the finals.
Well, I mean, as far as our event was concerned, for Kirsten and I, we skated almost to our absolute perfect potential, and at this moment in our career, and there's not much else you can ask for. Sitting there watching the last group going in as the top Canadian team and the top team going into the last 4 was great feeling, very exciting. At that point in time, it's out of our hands, and it's a little nerve-wracking because you can't control it. But it helped that Kirsten and I were very proud of what we had done, and we were very excited. So, any movement upwards from fifth would have been bonus. But, of the 4 teams that placed ahead of us, there were 8 world championship titles. So we were in good company, and there were some very strong veterans. Not all of them had their best skates, and that's unfortunate for them and for the way it looks. But there's a lot of nuances that go into the marking system, and we just had to sit and wait it out. And as far as the Israeli team of Anya and Evgeny, they were, a brand new team. She's very new to Paris. She just started this past season and just turned 16 this past year. And so I think they did a fantastic job in even qualifying to compete at the Olympics. And, they definitely have some promise.
Did you get to meet the other figure skaters from the other countries, like especially the Israel team? Did you get to hang out with them?
I'd known them already. I've competed against Evgeny with his previous partner, and I competed against Evgeny and Anya in September in Salt Lake City. So I've known him for a little while, and I met Anya then as well. So the figure skating world is quite tight-knit, and we all know each other from around the world quite well. So I knew what to expect from everybody. I knew what was going to be coming up against us.
Do you know the ice dancers as well? Because we actually have a debate going on. Last night, obviously, Charlie White from Team USA, go USA also, go North America. So Charlie White and his partner won the gold. And so all of these newspapers suddenly came out with Jewish figure skater wins gold. And then a friend of mine there are some reports that say actually he's not Jewish. Do you know? Jewish, not Jewish?
I'm pretty sure he's not.
He's not.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you. See, inside track.
Wow.
If he is, or if there is some sort of lineage there, it's not. It's probably like a grandparent or great grandparent. I don't think he's Jewish.
Well, breaking that news on the show, because Haaretz and all these newspapers,
The Forward, all of these newspapers, all of these English newspapers wrote that he was Jewish. So I don't know where they got that from.
You know what? I know on his Wikipedia page someone had put that.
And then they took it off. Yeah, I saw it was off afterwards.
Yeah, so
wow.
To be honest, I can't confirm that 100%.
No, it's okay. We're not asking you to check or anything. Don't worry.
I have a funny feeling that Haaretz read his Wikipedia page, reported it,
exactly.
and then
everybody followed suit afterwards because Haaretz was watching it live. There has been a lot of Jewish talent in these games. Have you gotten to meet other Jewish athletes from different teams, different countries?
Yeah, I always laugh with the American skaters because there's actually a pretty decent amount of Jewish skaters in the U.S. And I am it for Canada.
Which is amazing.
As far as I know. Pardon me?
I said it's amazing that you're representing the people. The Jewish people.
Oh, absolutely. And all of my friends from Birthright in Toronto and ones that I've lost touch with throughout the country, they all message me and just say I'm proud. And I've been actually getting quite a bit of response and quite a few messages on Facebook and Twitter from just Jewish people around Waterloo where I train and from Toronto where I'm from, and just saying congratulations and they're proud I'm representing them and all of these things. So it's kind of funny how when you're the only one, everyone kind of comes out of the woodwork.
Well, so what is it like to be the only one? Is it difficult? Is it hard? Have you felt any kind of anti-Semitism towards you or anything?
Absolutely not. It's literally just been a thing. The skating world, we are all very tight and quite respectful of each other, and I've never experienced any issues. Like I said, there's a number of skaters from the U.S. who have Jewish backgrounds or skate in the U.S. and represent another country but have a Jewish background. And I just happen to be the only one from Canada, as far as I know, at a high level. I'm not actually sure if there's any other winter athletes here from Canada that are Jewish, but I don't know of any.
Can I ask you also to clear up one more debate we've been, or things that we've been hearing, rumors we've been hearing about Sochi. It's been in the news about, and the media, American media has had a field day over the conditions for athletes and the conditions for the media, how they weren't really ready, how the dorms weren't quite so good, that there were like group toilets and you had to put the toilet paper in the garbage, or all sorts of things that Americans have been going nuts over talking about. Can you clear up what it's been like behind the scenes as an athlete in Sochi for you?
My experience has been nothing but fantastic. The only thing that's been a struggle at times, which I really haven't minded, is how big the park is, and walking through it takes a long time. But my partner and I prefer walking over taking the bus, and that's about it. Honestly, my dorm has been fantastic. The food has been great. The transportation, the accommodation, the people, the volunteers, everything has been working quite well as far as I've seen. I've not encountered any issues.
All right,
thanks.
Dylan, last question we have for you. You mentioned a few minutes ago that at this point in your career that you felt you did the best you could do. Does that mean 2018 that you feel that will be your prime and then you'll see gold and bring gold for Canada?
You know what? Kirsten and I discussed before coming here that we would take it year by year with the potential of going to 2018.
Okay.
And we spent about 6 hours in the village. And I looked at her and said, okay, so we're going to 2018, right?
Awesome.
And,
There you go.
You know what? Being at my first games at 29, I've really paid my dues to get here and waited and persevered and been stubborn as anything to get here, and been everything I've wanted it to be. And I definitely don't feel like I'm done, and I don't think feel like I'm improving, or us as a team have finished improving. And I think, you know what? Every Olympic cycle, it's a new wave after that, and we set ourselves up very well. And we most definitely want to go to 2018 and bring home gold, absolutely, and win a few world titles before that happens as well.
And we'll make a deal that after you win gold, you come back on the show. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Dylan, pleasure having you on the program. We really enjoyed it, and we want you to come to Israel and be in studio whenever you like. And enjoy the silver, enjoy the time there, and we will speak with you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. Be well. Dylan Moscovitch, everybody, silver medalist at this year's Olympic Games. Quick break. On the other side, Bradley Chalupski from Israel bobsledding. This is Louis Live on TLV1. Back here on Lewis Live on TLV1. Once again, a reminder, you can download the show on iTunes, look up Lewis Live Sports. You can follow the station on Twitter at TLV1.fm, and you can email me personally at arilouisshow@hotmail.com, ARILOUISSHOW at hotmail.com. Now, folks, this show is not a propaganda show. I don't talk about how Israel is great and everything they do is great, and that's it. I will talk about when they do things correctly, and I will talk about things when they do things incorrectly. Last week, we talked about an incorrect Israel move when Itamar Katz was not allowed to go to the Olympics in 2010, and this segment will be something similar with my main man, Bradley Chalupski from Israel Bobsledding. Bradley, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Ari. Good to be back. How you doing?
It's good to be back. So, like I said, we'll talk about positive, talk about not so positive. We had you on the program about 5 months ago. I know you were working very hard to try to be in this Olympic Games. It didn't work out. Tell us why it didn't work out.
Well, just some bureaucratic problems, as is kind of the norm around here. Now that I live in Jerusalem for the last 2 years, but we're really hoping to focus on the positive, so I don't really want to call anyone out or say exactly why or what, but we ran into some bureaucratic problems, and we're hoping that in the future that's not going to be the case, and we're looking forward to the next 4 years and getting back out there to compete.
Now, when I spoke with Itamar Katz last week, I said, do you feel feelings of resentment or anger? And she said that was kind of a big word. I don't think she was too, when I'm saying when she watched these games, did you feel resentment or anger? She said that was kind of a big word. I don't think she was too happy about what happened, but she kind of moved on. Did you feel resentment watching these games and you weren't a part of it?
I didn't feel resentment. I felt sadness. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel sad, disappointed, but not resentment. I mean, we knew what we were up against coming into this Olympic cycle, and, unfortunately weren't able to overcome all the obstacles that we were going to need to overcome, which I knew when I was getting involved initially, and so disappointing, yes. Resentment, no. We're going to be working forward for the next one, so I guess if I was really that resentful, I wouldn't be still involved. So
yeah, I'll tell you, because Itamar Katz, after what happened to her in 2010, she just retired from the sport. She was so mad about it, that was it, and that was the end of her career. I think with you, though, you're taking a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, somebody once asked me, I get this question a lot, if you'll forgive me, and somebody once asked me, and I think the best answer I said was, I'm not going to judge an entire country based on one experience with one group of people, and we represent Israel. That's what the Israeli Bobsled and Skeleton program is about being on the world stage representing Israel well. And so we're proud to be able to do that. And if we ran into a little bit of Mishigas this time, then, so be it, I guess. And we're just going to keep moving forward to do what we do, which is bobsled, skeleton slide, and represent Israel. So that's how I look at it. Every athlete is their own person. Every athlete wants to compete for themselves. I'm always very clear about that as well. If you don't want to be out there competing for yourself as well, then you're not going to get far at all in international competition. But at the same time, you represent the flag on your sleeve. And for us to represent Israel is just a huge mitzvah in my life and just an amazing experience all around. And so we're happy to continue that. And we're just hoping that maybe next time Israel will want us to represent Israel more than we want to represent Israel.
Yeah, that would be good. Now, Shoshi is listening. She works here. She's a fan of yours, and she said that you worked so hard to try to get this done. I'm curious, do you have a team that helps you through the bureaucratic tape, or do you just show up personally to a desk and it's just like anything else? Go here, sign here. They move you around like you're trying to get a passport or something. Is that the same type of thing when you're trying to compete for the Olympics?
Well, I got to tell you, Ari, I'm not a one-man show. I work with a lot of people, the most prominent of which is David Graves, who works out of Winnipeg out in Canada, and Philip Nathan, who does all of our accounting and handles all of our money issues. So it's a team effort. And then even just within Jerusalem, when I was trying to get some of the paperwork done, I was literally at the Misrad HaKrita having people translate legal documents for me that we were trying to submit to the Olympic Committee and to the Ministry of Sports. So it's every day I'm working with David and Nate, and I have to give a shout-out to my buddy Ilan and his company, Chutzpah Media, who made a great fundraising video for us for free, just out of the kindness of his heart. And, it's not just me. That would be the most unfair and wrong thing to say. And I appreciate the support that I've gotten being the front piece to the whole operation, but it's everyone behind it that makes it possible. You can't do this on your own. I mean, logistics and paperwork and all that stuff. It's a team effort for sure.
Now, are there other tournaments you're looking at before the 2018 games that you're going to try to focus on?
Well, there's every season, you know. I mean, I right now am retired. I decided to retire from the sport, but I'm still involved administratively every day working to try and make this a reality for the next generation. We've had some interest from other people. That said, my fiance, I guess, doesn't like money, wants me to keep doing this instead of getting a job. David and Nate have been really supportive, and everyone out there in the Twitterverse and the Facebookverse and all over has been really wonderful. But I guess, like your last caller, taking it a year at a time. There's a skeleton season every year, obviously. There are competitions, there are world championships, and we're going to do what needs to be done to move the Federation forward. And if that is me, and it, you know, then maybe it will be. But right now, that's not my intention, but I am going to be active with the Federation for sure.
Okay, so this sounds like a Michael Jordan retirement.
No, it's, you know, man, it's tough because I always say it's like how Bruce Wayne always calls himself Batman, you know, in his head, even in Batman Beyond when he's like 80 and he's calling himself Batman in his head. Like, it gets in your head that this is a part of your identity. This is a part of what you do. You're out there competing at a world stage. Who could want more? You're out there representing Israel every day. Who could want more? And then one day it's over, and you know, you wake up from one day to the next, and one day you're racing, and then the next day we called it and said, this is over, I'm going back to Jerusalem. And it's definitely a transition. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely mentally and emotionally difficult to just say, okay, that's it. That's not what I do anymore, when you've devoted so much time and energy and sweat and blood and tears into it. So it's tough right now with the game still going on to know how I'm going to feel. And it's tough to see what kind of job opportunities. I mean, the unsung heroes of the Olympics, I always feel like, are the athletes themselves, in that people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You see the 2 minutes that we're on Olympic ice and we look like the glorious conquering heroes, but it's a grind, day in, day out, just to survive in this type of sport. It's very rare that people can make a living doing this, and so that's always in the forefront. And so I'm going to be 30 in April. I have a law degree from Seton Hall University. I'm in Ulpan learning Hebrew. And, you know, I would like to have a career at some point. So those two interests are up against each other right now. So for now, I'm not going to be training for a full-out season for next year. What happens after that, I guess, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it Michael Jordan retirement, but what happens after that, I guess, is still up in the air, because anyone who's ever been married or had a girlfriend knows that when your girlfriend or wife is telling you that you need to do something, it's, you know, usually better to do it.
It's like, well, we'll see. It's like Adrian in Rocky 3, when she tells him he has to go back and find Mr. T. I think it's that type of thing.
It's like, you know, I want you to do one thing for me, win. And you're like, really? I just kind of want to, like, get fat and retire. And
right.
like, do you want to go to the gym 4 hours a day and sleep on people's couches? Because I would really like to get a job on the 50th floor at somewhere in Tel Aviv. Like, you know.
With the law degree, I understand that. All right, Bradley, I hope at least this was therapeutic for you to talk about your feelings on my show. I
really appreciate it. Listen, I have to say, the support, anyone who's listening to this, just thank you. I mean, thank you. The only people that didn't want to see this happen and didn't work to see this happen were the people that could make it happen on the administrative side. Everybody else it's just been incredible. I can't even tell you, like, people come up to me, and even when I was competing, I remember one World Championships, Belgian bobsledder, came up to me and just started talking to me in Hebrew. I don't think anybody else even knew that he was Jewish. And he just came up to me and started talking in Hebrew. And I looked at him and I was like, what? I mean, and he said, thank you. So many people have come up to me, Israelis, Jewish people, come up to me, thank you for doing this. Thank you for bringing the flag. We made an IDF soldier cry in Vancouver. He said, I showed up at the track, and then I saw the Israeli flag in this frozen tundra of Whistler, Canada, and I was like, you know, who did this? Who brought this flag here? And those are the stories that David, Nate, and I get to hold on to. And, of course, Tamar Simon, who you know.
Yeah, give a
Don't
shout out to
forget
Tamar
her, who does all of our media. Sorry, Tamar, I know she's listening right now and probably was going to kill me, but that's okay. So that it's just thank you. Thank you for everything from everyone. And if it's not me wearing the spandex in 4 years, I really believe that next time around, we're going to have somebody at that start line. That's one of my life's goals. And whether I'm working at that administratively or whether I'm the guy out there, I don't know, but we will make this happen. So help me.
There you go. All right, Bradley, thanks for being on the program. Shout out again to Tamar Simon for helping set us up. And you can find Bradley Chalupski on Facebook. Bradley, all the best. We'll be in touch with you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Ari.
Be well.
All right, bye.
Bradley Chalupski, everybody. Quick break. On the other side, Adam Davis talking about volleyball in Germany, Israel style. This is Lewis Live on TLV1. Back here on Lewis Live on TLV1. Thanks again to Bradley Chalupski for coming on the program. We're going to switch gears and talk a little volleyball. Itamar Stein is the top scorer in volleyball in the German league, and he is Israeli. To talk more about that from Medalist Communications, Adam Davis. Adam, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Ari. What's you doing?
We're all doing good. So let's talk about that because Itamar Stein gave a very interesting interview when he talked about volleyball and how Israel handles volleyball. He said that apparently two of the top volleyball players left to focus on beach volleyball and trying to go to the Rio Olympics. Talk a bit about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, in his interview, he pretty much described, why he made the move to Germany after playing a few years in Israel. He said, it really wasn't up to snuff, and he was quoted as saying that if you really want to advance as a volleyballer as a profession, as a career, you really got to get out of Israel. There's not a lot of resources for the league. It's not as heavily involved as, the big leagues like soccer and basketball and things like that. So, he made the move to Europe, and now he's saying, it's happening to other players as well. Two big guys, Arik Hillman and Sean Feig, I think his name is, Feig, are actually made the move from court volleyball to beach volleyball, which is a completely different discipline, but they're, looking at the Olympics in 2 years, so maybe it could be the right move.
Now, they apparently have won a championship in Spain in September. A world championship. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, these two guys look like they know what they're doing. According to Itamar, who's coming from a court volleyball perspective, he says the goal of 2 years in Rio is a bit, of an exaggeration for these two guys, but they look to be pretty good. World championships on an international stage is a big win. Israel could surely, move up from 77th in the world in volleyball. Maybe these guys have a shot. 2 years, is still a long time, so we could see how that works out.
Now, he said the atmosphere in Germany is kind of hectic and crazy, and he talked about that despite the atmosphere, he helped his team make the playoffs. What did he mean by how it's crazy in Germany?
Well, how many times have you really been to watch a volleyball match? He said for his team right now, Morser Sport Club, they're in 6th right now in the division. But he says when they play the big teams like Berlin and the big names in Germany, they get 6,000 to 8,000 fans a game. For a volleyball league, that's kind of a big deal for a country that's very heavily involved in winter sports and especially soccer and basketball. He says that the fans are nuts and he's loving the atmosphere. And, especially for him to be such a great player so far away from his home country, it's definitely a great feeling for him to be thriving the way that he is in Germany.
All right, now, so one of the main themes from that interview he gave was it's not run properly in Israel volleyball, that is, and that's why they're leaving. So is Israel volleyball, could they respond by trying to improve things, or at the end of the day, are they not really going to care because there's not that much money in volleyball?
Well, I think it's all relative. Israel is a small country. There's a big focus on soccer and basketball. There's not a lot of money to go around everywhere. And, they could say that they're going to put more money in, to make it better, but it's only going to get better if people care about it. And people are going to care about it if there's more money invested. It's just going around in a circle. So really what I think, Israel in general needs to really focus on all these other sports to give themselves an opportunity to be bigger on the world stage. They're not really doing anything in the Winter Olympics right now. The Summer Olympics in 2 years from now, not looking very promising in a lot of different disciplines. If they try to spread the wealth around a bit more, they could catch a few more different sports and try to advance the way the other countries are themselves.
All right. At the end of the day, though, we have a Jewish Israeli being a top scorer in the league in Germany. So there is a positive side to the story. Even though Israel's not doing its job, I think that's tremendous that you have someone representing Israel in Germany when 50, 60 years ago, obviously Jews were not so popular, and now the top scorer in the league is Jewish. So I think that at least is one positive sign.
Yeah, definitely. That's what Israel is really known for. Their athletic exports. For those people who don't really understand how much the scoring works in volleyball, Itamar pretty much accounts for almost one full set of points on average per match of his team, which means he's doing a heck of a lot on the court for them. The fact that he's Israeli is an excellent feeling, as a Jew looking at this, considering he's playing in Germany. And I think he's really, what he says about the Israeli league is something he could say in an interview with an Israeli newspaper. But I think looking back, it's showing the world that, this tiny little country can really do things on the world stage in sports. And I think it's great that what he's doing, and hopefully others will follow suit and make a name for Israeli volleyball.
All right, Adam, great stuff as always. Great reporting on Mr. Itamar, who is the head scorer in volleyball in the German league, and he is Israeli. Adam, thank you so much. Have a great night. We'll speak with you soon.
Thanks. Take care, Ari.
All right, Adam Davis, everybody. Quick break. On the other side, World Series of Poker player Melanie Weisner. This is Louis Live on TLV1. Back here on Louis Live on TLV1, we were not able to get in touch with Melanie, so we will try to get in touch with her next week. Instead, we're going to do a wrap-up of the Olympics to talk about 2018, what to look for. Let's talk about 2018. Apparently, there will be a new sport that Israel will be participating in, Mimi?
Hopefully. The news just broke last week that there will hopefully, for the first time ever in 2018, be an Israeli curling team in South Korea. There's a guy, Jacob Davis, who is trying, who was scouted by Israel. He's from Boston, and he's hopefully going to theoretically make Aliyah and be part of the future Israel curling team. And personally, I find curling fascinating. The first time I saw it, I think, was like 3 a.m. It's always on at like 3 a.m. in the Olympics, on the repeats and everything. And it's just a great thing to watch, at 3 a.m. when you're kind of half asleep. It's a lot of fun. There's these people sweeping brooms as this guy is throwing a stone, what they call a stone, across the ice and trying to get it into a target. It's kind of a cross between bowling and shuffleboard on ice. And I've got to say, if they do make this curling team, I'm willing to move to Metula. I'm willing to be a sweeper. I want to be one of those people sweeping on the ice. I love it. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
What has to be done for them to qualify and be in the Olympics?
That I'm not exactly sure, because frankly, they've never even tried to qualify. But they do have to go through, like your last guest, Bradley, said, about a lot of paperwork that has to be done, a lot of bureaucracy. They have to see if they have the funding, because it costs a fortune, as some of your previous guests have mentioned. It costs a fortune in fundraising and trying to reach the kind of amount of money that it takes to train and send somebody to the Olympics. But yeah, it takes a lot to qualify. But frankly, I think Israel can do it. I think we will hopefully see an Israeli curling team. Maybe not 2018, maybe 2022. But certainly, hopefully, 2018. And again, call me. You can get my contact info from Ari. I want to be a sweeper, willing to move to Metula. I'm just putting it out there.
All right, we'll have to hold you to that. So we talked about summer. What are some other things for the future we can look forward to?
Well, as we heard from here first from Dylan Moscovitch and his partner Kristen Moore-Towers, or hopefully they're going to take it year by year, as they said, but after they were finished the Olympics this year, and certainly they had a fantastic Olympics with a silver medal, and also finishing fifth in their own personal pairs competition, because, as we said, the competition was extremely fierce. We saw lots of world records being broken. They broke 200, which is a fantastic score. They said it's their personal best. So hopefully they'll be competing, and they'll come on again on TLV1 and Israel Sports Radio in 2018 in South Korea. And also, as your last guest said, Bradley Chalupski, hopefully him or another Israeli will be in the skeleton run / bobsled team. That would be great, as he said, for Israel to represent in bobsledding. I remember watching Cool Runnings as a kid. I'm sure you watched it too with the Jamaicans.
He saw it also. Yeah, that influenced Bradley Chalupski to somewhat get involved with that movie.
That's amazing that a movie can inspire you to be an Olympic athlete.
Well, there's a lot of boxers that will tell you they got into boxing because of Rocky. So art certainly influences life. Last point, let's finish off. So Charlie White, at the end of the day, as of now, he is not Jewish.
As of, you heard it here first from a reliable source from Dylan that apparently he's not. And I saw that it was taken down from the Wikipedia page. So maybe he's, doesn't like the fact that he's been sort of recruited by the Jewish people.
Well, he sounds like someone pulled an Ari Louis Wikipedia scam, because I was notorious for doing that, going to other people's Wikipedia pages, making up stuff just for fun as pranks. And I think someone did that, and someone from Haaretz forgot to do their homework.
Not just Haaretz, the Forward, all sorts of places.
But they probably all took it from Haaretz, is my guess.
Maybe.
So they rely on that. So for all the newspaper outlets out there, you can't just rely on Wikipedia.
Definitely not. I'm a librarian. I know that's like my day job. I don't usually talk about that because it's like, oh my God, she's a librarian and a DJ. How can she be both?
Yeah, because librarians, they're always asking for quiet.
Exactly. There's like, day job, night job, sort of like we were talking about Batman and Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne, is like my librarian job, and I'm Batman by night. But yeah, so I think that I think it would be great to see all these different teams in the Olympics, bobsledding, and like I said, you can't trust Wikipedia. Do not trust Wikipedia. I had to do a research project in library school where we had to actually fact check, find 3 reliable sources for every single fact on a Wikipedia page, and I chose Madonna.
There you
Because
go.
she had you had to do like a minimum of 20 to 30 facts that we had to check and find at least 2 to 3 better sources. So check your facts. Don't just trust Wikipedia. That's my PSA for the day.
Well, if you want facts, come right here to Lewis Live because we give it all to you, as you heard live from Dylan saying that Charlie White is not Jewish. All right, folks, that does wrap up our program. A couple reminders. Next week, Benji Lovett, comedian extraordinaire, will talk about Gobble and the Dallas Mavericks. Benji is a Dallas native, so I like that touch. We're going to talk about the Derby Girls and what that is. We have to find out next week, and we hope to get in touch with Melanie Weisner and have her on, as well as she is competing in the World Series of Poker. Once again, you can download this program on iTunes by going to Lewis Live Sports. You can download all the programs and listen to it at your leisure. If you want to follow the station, you can do so at TLV1.FM. That's on Twitter. I want to thank everyone for listening in, and of course our guest, Mimi Borovich. Thank you for being in studio today, Mimi, and reporting on the Olympics.
It's great being here. Hope to be here in 2016 for Rio Summer Olympics.
There you go, Summer Olympics there. And then, of course, Dylan Moscovitch, silver medalist in this year's Olympic Games. We certainly thank him for his time. Very rare that you hear from an athlete that quickly after he wins silver. Bradley Chalupski was not in the Olympic Games. He was on Wikipedia, though. You can Wikipedia Israelis in the 2014 Games. He is there. Adam Davis breaking down volleyball, the problems with Israeli volleyball. And, of course, Itamar Stein, how he's the leading scorer in the volleyball league in Germany. Stay tuned for a lot of great program, a lot of great stuff. But that's it for tonight. God bless and good night.